Everyone. Assalamu alaikum. Veda Makum. Once again, it is great to be in the number. Our topic for tonight, are you ready to govern yourself? Are you ready to govern yourself? Before we get into the topic, the, the Academy of Providence will be having her fifth course. And let me tell you a little about Academy of Providence, the mission statement, in manifesting the mission of Academy of Providence is to promote the restoration of critical thinking, which is molded in the epistemological tradition of conventional education. Through the illumination of the past, to anticipate the future generations will yield unto their intellectual, creative, philosophical, and intuitive mind. The Academy of Providence upcoming course will be next Saturday, April 17th. The Sir George course will be on Saturdays from 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time via Zoom, virtual, or in classroom at 602 Vanderveer, Wilmington, Delaware. About our program, the 12-week Sir George course is designed to teach the principles of how Moorish treaties benefit the Moors as creditors and protect them from being debtors of a foreign power. Further, the students will be taught how Moorish treaties are enforced through government structure. In addition to treaty and government study, students will learn how to structure, file and serve cases, write writs, answers, affirmative defenses, reconsideration, and memorandum of law. Your instructors, yours truly, Abdullah Mosi Bey and Shem Malachi Bey. Enroll now. To enroll and to pay for the course, you go to UnitedRespublicaMorocco.com, UnitedRespublicaOfMorocco.com, and click on Academy of Providence. You click on Academy of Providence. So, without further ado, I'll bring up Shem Malachi Bey. All right. Are you ready to govern yourself? Are you ready to govern yourself? All right. I'll see you shortly.
Peace, Professor. Appreciate that. Appreciate what you are doing, and also appreciate Tamara, Noble Tamara. I appreciate Terrence, Lord Terrence, and Lord Amar, that's here. Because, can you hear me? Okay. I appreciate what is being done with the caucus and what we're doing for showing the men and women how to be a population of people operating inside the Providence districts and regions in Morocco, and also operating within the occupying political jurisdiction as under alienation. So what we're going to talk about today is the territorial difference in the occupying political jurisdiction in the territorial Morocco on the land, and we're dealing with territorial land on the soils of Morocco. Now, there is such thing as land rights, and there's a such thing as, let me get to this, land rights pursuant to consanguinity. That consanguinity is more consanguinity. So we're dealing with the Moors that's descendants and kinsmanship heirs of the ancient mothers and fathers. Therefore, they reserve the right of land rights pursuant to consanguinity. Now, in consanguinity, there's land, water, air, and space, meaning that you have a right to claim, proclaim, determine, barter, work commerce, do civics, political affairs, and you're able to do with in your own house based on your piety and deity of your ancient mothers and fathers, and therefore you're able to operate in your community among each other domestically and do what you call commerce. So that's it. I'm going to that. That would be called. Now, and let me get back to this so we don't get off this. In the consanguinity, the land, water, air, and space resolves around first one, property. Properties erected on land. That's good. Okay. Property is erected on land and is also erected on water in the sea base, in the seaboard. That means on the foundation of the land inside the water. So what I mean is that let's deal with property. It's something that someone used as what you call an invention, intellectual property. I mean, you're drawing something. Once that is drawn, the party that's drawn it has a right now to claim that, because that came from the essence of that came from them, the man or woman. When they claim it, not only thing about it, what is their status? As a national or citizen, what is their status and what is their allegiance and what is the obligation and liability they got to that government or the principle of that government? So now, the Moors, when the Moors invent something, it's theirs. There's no other party that can claim that. It's the Moors on. It comes from their what? Their intellectual, their thinking. Now, the Moors have a right after they invent it or draw it, they have a right to do with it as they feel fit. So what they have a right now to do is convey it. They can sell it or they can use it to a third party, but they still reserve the right based on their status. Now we're dealing with status. I'm going to get there. Now, in order for a train, a ship, or a boat, or a plane to be built, it has to be built by somebody engineering. And engineering come under inventions, intellectual property. I'm sorry I didn't have Abdullah write it down, but he should have wrote intellectual property, but that's all right, inventions. Now we're dealing with commerce. Commerce gives you the right to trade, sell. Like you did with a train, people need a ride from one destination, domicile, to another domicile, or a different region to another region. You're dealing with a ship, which is ancient. Dealing with what? Export, import, traveling, transportation. You're dealing with a boat, fishing, cargo. People want to be on it. They congregate for social purposes of party, having fun, joy. Then you got the plane, which is the navigation in the waters above. It's navigating a ship on the water. It's navigating to the clouds. It's navigating. But all this had to come about through this intellectual property, which is an invention. So once the Moors understand this principle, and I'm going to tell you why I'm going to bring this up when I talk about it on their side, the American side. This is the Moroccan side of territory. Now we got traveling. The Moors have a right to travel in their land wherever they see fit. Let me explain what I mean. Among the Moorish governments, there have to be a commerce agreement set between us. So if one go into the jurisdiction of another Moorish government, they have to be regulated in commerce how they're going to deal between each other as Moorish nationals from a foreign provincial government. That right to travel is your right, and the governments, provincial Moorish governments have to acknowledge that. Now we got forward locomotives, trains, automobiles, which can back up and can go forward. The Moors have to get into their intellectual property, their inventors, and create these things, or have someone create them for the Moors. When they are created for the manufacturer, when the drawings are done, then when they drop it off into the Moors government depository, the Moors become the register holder. Therefore, the title to the train, the ship, the boat, the plane, and the forward locomotives. We navigating and traveling stays is in the control ownership of that party that buys it, that buys the conveyance when the conveyance is done. Now, in order to control this, what we call territory land, Morocco land rights pursuant to consanguinity, that's Moors consanguinity, by the way. Now, Moors consanguinity gets you a loader entitled to land, water, air, and space. Therefore, give you the power to own your estates, your property, your inventions, intellectual property, conveyance, trains, ships, boats, planes, and then control your commerce. You can travel freely, and you can control and own all four locomotives. Now, how you do this? How can a Moor under Moors consanguinity do that? Well, your mother and father was the landlordship and ownership. So you have your landlordship comes to your mother, consanguinity, your mother. That's how you get that. The ownership and lordship, when the lordship owns something, that's the ownership. That means that's the first owner. They control it. They own it. They're not subject to any liens. They're not subject to any being an alien or a resident or a national of another government. So they don't control it. They reserve the lordship, ownership rights that's handed down through the ancestors for what? For possession rights of these assets based on descendants' kinsmanship heir status to form into two contracts to reserve, own, possess rights over our Moorish estates in Morocco. Let me explain what I mean. Moors consanguinity. Moors consanguinity here. You got Moors consanguinity dealing with descent, kinsmanship heir based on possession rights. This gives you the possession rights. This is how you get it right here. In order to inherit anything, you got to have this Moors consanguinity. And then the lordship and the ownership. Now, what you mean, Shem? The men and women that are from the land handing down to their descendants, kinsmanship heirs, the inherit right. What you mean inherit right? When an estate or anything of value of intellectual property that's designed to do anything in commerce or anything erected on the land or anything created to do commerce to traveling, Abdullah got forward locomotives. I use the word forward locomotives. The Moors have an individual right to claim that and possess it. How? By just saying, this is the mother, this is her children, this is the father, this is the trust. If not the trust, then it's a social trust, which is the Constitution, which embody the rights of the people and invested offices for them to elect certain men and women to fill them offices to operate as they want them to do. Now, you have to inherit, in order to inherit something, your mother and father have to be of the Moors consanguinity, which brings them into the lordship, ownership of the estates. In order to own the inherit something, you have to have the knowledge who you are. If you don't know that this your mother and father, what I mean, you got to know this your motherland. See, before you talk about your mother and father, you got to talk about your motherland. Your mother and father, they mother and father, they mother and father, they mother and father. Go back and trace, they came out of the earth. So the earth is your motherland. Now, what part of the earth did your ancient mother and fathers claim as a country? I mean, a portion of the earth's surface that they claim to grow their food, to live and build their houses, and among themselves have government-to-government relationship with the houses in the community. So the motherland gives you the claim to all this I just talked about: lordship, ownership, possession rights of these assets based on descendant kinsmanship heir status. Listen to me. You can have people teach and talk all day long. Ask yourself the question out there in the audience today. Where are we at now? I'm not praising nobody. I'm not giving nobody honor on a fake glory and fake concept that we are in good shape, that we doing better, that we got government, we don't need this. It's already set. I'm not giving nobody no honor. That's a misconcept. Ask yourself, an audience out there, a question. Who is talking like this for you to come back to get your rights? Who's talking about the existence sovereignty? Please hear me out. We care about you here at the United Republic of Morocco. The society we form of the different ecclesiastic bodies to do this. We are not selfish. Please hear me out. Please hear me out right now. We have not did anything. We have not signed a treaty among ourselves, which we could have did. We didn't run to the international body and say, we're going to do this, and anybody want to do something, they got to come to us. We never said that. We said, let's all come together and create one central body, like Professor Abdul St. Tamar say. Let's do this so we all can go over there and claim a portion of the sovereignty that Morocco already possessed from ancient time and have not lost it. Ask yourself a question. Why would I get up here and talk about economics and assets, and you need structure to protect the assets and economics? You need a military. You need to pay the police. Look at the other governments. When I get on the other side, talk about that with them, you're going to see what I'm talking about. Look at the other governments. They got their police. They got their navigation. They got a political structure. They got diplomatic, government-to-government relationship. Okay. Yeah, so we gotta ask ourselves a question, and when you ask the question, turn around and look in the mirror and say, you know, I need to ask. Look at yourself and say, I'm gonna ask you a question. That's yourself. Look in the mirror and say, I'm gonna ask you a question. Nobody else around. You ask yourself, what has been going on for over 200 years to bring us back to the land rights pursuant to Moorish consanguinity, bringing us to the knowledge that the land, water, air, and space in the hemisphere that we are belongs to us through our ancient mother and fathers, and that the erections, the property, invention, intellectual property, conveyors, trains, ships, boats, planes, and the commerce, economics, and industry that's coming, bartering, exchange, and travel, forward locomotion. What and who and what body of government that we can go to and make this claim for to repossess our states, Moorish states, and then through a government structure do it. Don't worry about nobody else. Look at yourself in the mirror and point to yourself and ask yourself a question. And say, who have been ordained by the cosmos through their mother to speak to us something that was never said and never done? Please swallow your pride. Get that stiff neck out the way. Just look at yourself and say, let me just look and think. Nobody. Because you know why? You can't go nowhere into a government building, a Moorish government building, and ask them to file a document or call the consul. You can't go nowhere to say, I need my police riding around with their cars doing stuff, usurping jurisdiction in the Moorish land. Where's the police at? Where's the military at? Where's the Moorish depository? Where's the Moorish treasury? Where's the Moorish bank at? Charter bank. I'm asking these questions for a reason. I don't need nobody to tell me so-and-so. See, this is the difference with teaching history. This is the difference talking about what went on a long time ago. There's a difference between, they did this to us, and this is what they're doing to us now. Now, what is the remedy? Ask yourself a question. What is the remedy? That's it. Who got the remedy? And you don't sit here and lie to yourself and point to say, well, we've been operating under this right here. We've been operating under this right here. We've been operating this man, this woman right here. We've been following. That's not what I asked. All I asked was, where is the structure at to protect us so we can claim, so we can, in the territory of Morocco, the land rights pursuant to consanguinity, land, air, and water. And we're going to protect the property, invention, intellectual property, conveyance, trains, ships, boats, and planes. May not mean intellectual property. Who's going to protect us when we make this? Our man engineered this to start making this. Who's going to protect it when we purchase it? We got to purchase that they can't take from us because we purchasing it and we using a negotiable instrument and real currency. That means we know how to write on paper an instrument to revoke our rights and get them back to own these things so they can't come back and take them and say you never paid for it. We're talking about status. Possession rights of these assets based on descendant, kinsmanship, heir, status. Who has set up that we can come back with the status under Moorish consanguinity and the different provinces of Morocco with a provincial government in the Constitution? They got free determination elections. I mean, the people came together as a pop, and then show me somebody that's out here like we doing, which we're going to do later on. See what we doing here, and especially at the Academy of Providence, is we're set. We are the only ones. I ain't talking about the universities taking people money, the irony money. Oh, we give back. We're not talking about that. We talk about Moors. Given to Moors wisdom, knowledge, philosophy, and education properly to get them back to the mindset to claim the status of Moorish consanguinity. Then after we do that, give a portion without any grants, without any rich man giving us nothing. Nobody giving us nothing. Rich men ain't giving us nothing. The government ain't giving us nothing. We are acting as hired, being underpaid to give somebody something valuable, Jews. And we're going to get further than that. We're going to start doing it where if you go ahead and come in with 5 people, we're going to discuss this. We're going to start bringing some people in on charity. After the people can show they can bring this much in the pool, then they can add on some for charity. You know why we're doing that? Because we want to help our people out. We want to discuss this. Because I'm going to tell you something. Tamara said it right. Show me somebody that's giving their earnings, that they making it underpaid, giving it back to the government without the people not even supporting them. These universities are getting money from rich billionaires and trillionaires. What is they giving us? Nothing. Our Moorish people don't want to give us nothing. Talking to her downstairs, we got to find a way. There's some conscious, semi-conscious Moors. They go out their way. I appreciate that. But what we have to do is get our house in order so our people trust us. And like Professor Abdul said, ain't nobody trusting you out no structure. Because listen to me, when you're traveling, what are you looking for? The signs that's on the wall, the turn here, the go here, 95, 76. That's a structure of directions, a map to guide you to your longitude, jurisdictional territory, location. Now, what we got to do, we got to be the same way. We got to put up signs, a map. Know what that map and signs is? Political structure. Somebody they can look to, a seal, a flag, a man or woman in position to aid them. That's what we got to do. We never been doing that. Let's stop playing with each other. Let's stop pulling each other leg. You can watch a fairy tale movie all day long and have 100,000 viewers. It ain't doing nothing for you. That's been going on for the last 20 years, 30, 40 years, 50 years. An audience, an arcade, and nothing going on. You're still in the same position you were, sir. Movie stars, your lovely movie stars. Everybody put on the act and playing the Moors. For what? Like Tamara said, a purse. We became just a person consumer to the people. Everybody consume us, eat on us. You know, we just like like this crops, cattle. Let them breed and sell their ass and slaughter their ass. They ain't good for that. Get it, we got to stop this stuff here, man. Come on now. We just like crops. Plant their ass. I mean, let their woman have, let the man plant the seed in the women. They have the babies. That is the number one. Legalized servitude and illegal transporting of people, children. You got to understand, everybody looking for a kidnap. But this kind of kidnap going on legislative to the state of origins is worse than a goddamn kidnap, because they think that they got the right to take your damn child, miseducate you, indoctrinate you, and then turn around and put you under mind control where you voluntarily accept the abduction. That's bad. When you voluntarily say, I don't care, it killed 100,000 people, it may not kill me because they had sickness. You know, you are one lunatic. They made you to a lunatic, mental retarded, special needy. Yes, you are. You got to get out of that mind frame. What I mean is we're not like that. They think we like that. They look at these people here. Are you kidding me? If I ever seen some lunatics in my life, a man give my professor, like my brother, he takes something from an herbalist and he told Abdullah that's an herb, and it killed Abdullah. He lied to him. It's not a cure, it's not an herb, because it won't do you like that. Anytime somebody gives somebody something, whether it's indoctrination, information, it's no different like taking bad chemicals, form into an invention, and say that this is what we did with laboratory animals, and it won't affect your body to over a 20-year period. What are you doing? You're making a decision on how to live or die. See, this is why Moorish government is so important here. This is why the Moorish consequently. See, this can't happen if we come together. I don't need nobody telling me we need to sit down and talk. We already doing it. Just come and be a part of what we're doing in unity. Don't need to talk about what needs to be done, because we know what needs to be done. What are you going to do now? This is Moors that consider being woke. What are you going to do now? The ones that's unconscious, I'm willing to help them. So let's stop playing games with each other. Let's look at what can help us now and in the long run. Let's come up as political, Moorish provincial governments. Let's form your population, elect your government body, then elect your representative that's going to come and sign a treaty. That treaty brings us all together under one central government. You know, the rest of the world will say, they got an alliance going on down there. They're together. These ain't black, Negro, Afro-American colors. See, they can't label you as that. They can't even come in your jurisdiction, even voice that, because you can't go on theirs and tell them what to do when they sign their treaties to crowns. Neither can they tell you. So when they start trying to talk and controlling how you think in the government, they're going to lose. Now, let's take this, what I said here with dealing with land, water, air, and space, and let's transfer this over to land, water, air, and space over to America. Let's transfer Morocco, who signed a treaty with the European powers, the Roman states, and there's a political jurisdiction extending Europe over to Morocco. It's called America. Now, in America, the subjects are not consanguinity. They are the children of immigrants who are descendants and kinsmanships, and only have what you call privileges in the occupying political jurisdiction in the territorial Morocco land through agreements. Now, the other way? Okay. Now, America occupying political jurisdiction in the territorial Morocco, which is people have privileges and rights. Now, they don't have no load-in title. There's no load-in title here. They stop playing. The only thing they have in this land based on treaties is called privileges and rights. Privileges and rights to what? Property, rights. Let me say it. They got privileges and grants to property, inventions, intellectual property, conveyance, trains, ships, planes, boats, planes, commerce, travel, and forward locomotive. They have privileges and rights, privileges and grants pursuant to this rights on the negotiated agreement with Morocco government, the Moorish government. What I mean, Shem? What you talking about, Shem? Let's go back and let's get this right. Let's look back like the Sokofa bird. Moab, Israel, and then Arabia. Why you use that, Shem? They are in modern time back then the Moorish stronghold. What are you talking about, Shem? Nations over the world fear them. These nations come out of Phoenicia. They travel over and they conquered and became an empire. Being that they came from these lands, that bloodline is extended back over there. What do you mean, Shem? They send their children back over to marry their women. That's how important it was. That's the relationship they had. In order for them to have any allodian title rights, they have to claim the conquer mother country, their motherland. See, we're not claiming the motherland. That's the mother. Excuse me, I'm gonna say all y'all Moors. You could talk about my mother. You go, all of y'all love that DNA. Oh, I went and did a DNA check. All the time, I'll trace the name back. Stop playing. You got carbon and melon, you are Moor. Where is your motherland, meaning a portion of the earth's surface that the melanated, carbonated people claim as a dominion? They domain to do their commerce, to grow their food, to fish, to enjoy the air, and then survey through their mother, control and possession of the land. That's all it comes down to. You don't have to do no DNA check. You got carbon and melon. What are you doing getting a DNA name check? Don't trick you. Traps, tricks, and trades. You've been tricked. Everything the Europeans got, the Roman states, Rome, the Roman Empire, knew this concept when they conquered Moab, Israel, Arabia. They conquered down in Egypt. They conquered down in what you call South Central Morocco, Atlantis, Turtle Island. They allow the Moors, to keep their what? Their sovereignty, as long as the government gives allegiance to the Roman Empire or the Babylonian Empire, the Persian Empire, or the Syrian Empire, or the Egypt Empire. As long as they did that alliance, why did they do that? Because they got the confidence, the full faith, credit, and pledge of the people that when they decide to conquer a nation, to take their resources, that's what it's all about, resources and commerce. Because once the people pay taxes, once you take the agriculture, once they give a portion of the agriculture, once they get a portion of their merchandise, once you get a portion of the trade, once you get a portion of intellectual property, what happens? It automatically makes the kings, the emperors, wealthy. The royal family of dukes, earls, barons, and counts. The princes, the princesses. Come on, look at the ancient principle they stole from us. These people was us. They was our ancestors, mothers and fathers. Let's stop playing. Let's do this. Everything you see, you go back to the Babylonian kingdom. These are Moors. Israel, Moab, Arabia, these are Moors. The emperor or empress will call for the seer. Why should he call for the seer? The Dauti. Because that person or that woman or man can see, it was able to travel and get the revelation, hear the voice from the cosmos, determine and tell what is going to happen in future events and now. So they will call for the seer. And the seer would say, well, based on their deity and piety, if a nation plague these people or try to kill them, the cosmos, the gods went against them. So what did the empress do, or the king do, or the emperor? He goes back and look at the ancient before him that's still living called a council. Is this true? Go and grab me the scrolls. And he reads it, or she reads it. He said, this is true. These are events that happen on earth with these people. So they come up, not because they honor us, they only respect what your ancient ancestors had favor with the cosmos, and they couldn't get rid of you. So nations fear. That's why they allow them to keep their sovereignty, their king and stuff, as long as they got their allegiance, because they could use them. I'm going to war to this kingdom over here. So he just conquered 100 nations. Here's one nation fighting 100 nations. So your kingdom now got allegiance when you send your sons and daughters to fight, or your sons to fight in a war. Then he asks you to take your sons, your daughters, and then sell them to men of his nation. Why did he do that? So you got to understand what's going on here. Birthright theft. Birthright theft ain't just to language. Birthright theft is to giving up the woman. I want y'all to hear this. You give up that woman and let a man from a foreign nation go into her, marry her, and then he turn around and build all this stuff up, empire. Then when they come back to the Moorish estate, she comes back with him and her children. What just happened? What just happened? Somebody say, I don't believe that concept. I'm going to show you some jurisprudence in the Bible. When the seer brought Israel back and Moab back, he seen something happen. He seen that the men marry foreign women. And he seen that the women, but he never said the women. Listen to me, I'm what I'm talking about. He never questioned the women being married coming back. He questioned the men. So when he seen the men with the foreign women, what did the seer, the priest did? Send these women and their children back with gifts. Because they cannot stay here. Why couldn't they stay here? They could not inherit the land. Only woman of Moab, Israel, and Arabia can order it. The women from there. That's it. See, that's jurisprudence showing you. Why did it say the woman? They say the man. Send back your wife and children. Why the wife got to go back with the children? Because they can't get no inheritance. You see, the birthright is in a woman. I just taught y'all something about jurisprudence in the Bible. See, the reason why we can't get there, because these old tricksters up here going to divinity school, they only design in order to tear you down, to turn you against the concepts and principles of that right concept, principle of that book, so you have a curse on you. And you wonder, why this happened to us? Why we can't get out of this? Something wrong. Something wrong. Why are we like this? Abdullah right. We did it to ourselves. You got to acknowledge, Moors, our foremothers and forefathers did it to themselves. And when we did have a prophetess woman or a prophet come, you're going to kill them and burn them to death. Call them a witch. Call a man a wizard, a warlock. Do you know what you just did? Let me say something. How are you going to take a man or a woman, not upon their own authority or power, chosen by the cosmos, the celestial realm, to be able to hear the voice of knowledge and wisdom that govern the earth? How dare you call them that? They didn't say, I did this myself. No, they just became anointed, the carbon. The Christian or the Abdullah say, why you go to church? What are you doing? Do you think these men called apostles and prophets rape women, child molesters, kill people, rob and plunder? No. They operate the principle of Christ, the Christians. There's no such thing as a Christian going to war against a Christian nation. That's impossible. They don't kill anybody. They don't rob and plunder. They don't conquer. They bring the people to the high maturity and they get them out of the culture, the lowest of the earth where they fell at, and bring them back up to the proper divinity status in the mind. And you're going to kill them. Or they weren't nobody. They're a bunch of Europeans doing this and that. So you running your mouth? See? That's why you wonder why we in shape. Let's get out of that stuff. What are we going to do now? That's all that comes down. What we going to do now? All I'm saying is that we got a foreign power working against us in nature and in the cosmos, in a dark rim, that do not want us to get back to our first estate where our mothers and fathers fell. And we are here arguing and can't make a determination among ourselves that all we got to come together and do is say whatever kind of wrinkles and curves we got, we can iron it out, we can straighten it out. If it's unbalanced, we'll balance it back. Everybody want to be a pharaoh, a dean, a professor, a movie star, an emperor, a king, or a chief. Everybody want to be that. Just be a common national and help your people out and fit in where you can fit in at. Live off your estate and transition in peace. That's all. Now I'm going to get into the importance of status. The convention relating to the status of refugees of 28 July 1951, and it's important that we go back over this again because really on the House of Reawakening Minds, we haven't really let the people know that if you're not claiming the Moorish consanguinity, lordship, the kinsmanship heirs, descendants of the lordship and ownership to possess the rights of these assets based on descendant kinsmanship heir status, and form and to enter into contracts to preserve our own possessions, rights over our own Moorish estates in Morocco. Listen here. All this has to be done to claiming your motherland. I'm going to leave the mother and father out of this. I'm going to say the motherland. That's the mother to everything. Motherland, I'm standing on the land. More, you eat from the land. You drink the water. You breathe the air. Your mothers, ancient mothers and fathers came out the land. The first civilization came out the land. The carbon and melon you got came out of the motherland, your earth. That's what it means, the motherland, I mean the earth. And you not claiming to be of a particular dominion, domicile territory that your ancient ancestors claimed for their own, to hand it down to their kinsmanship heirs and descendants, then I'm going to tell you what you are. Let's stop. There you go. Hey, listen, remember, these people got together. These are nations. These are nations got together countries. Now, let me break this down so you understand. Anytime a man or woman come in knowledge. Now, if you don't have the knowledge, they got you. You lost the war. You just lost. When you got the knowledge of who the enemy is and what they use in the fight in the war, and you don't do nothing, you a coward. Get you a shovel and bury yourself. Find you a cemetery and dig a hole and bury yourself, because you ain't no good to nobody like that. You no good. You already dead in your mind. What you living for? The body just enjoying nature and culture, and divinity is not maturing, evolving. Let's get this right. You ain't no good to nobody. Now, I'm glad Tama brought this up, because we never really got into this on the House of Reawakening Mind. And this is perfect with what I'm showing you and teaching you here off this. This is perfect. Now, they came in the 59th Congress, before I read this, they came up, the legislature before Congress came up a thing about Moroccans, Moorish and Moroccans. And anytime a person evades himself, I'm going to read this. Definition of the terms refugee. For the proposal of the present convention, the term refugee shall apply to any person who has been considered a refugee under the arrangements of 12 May the 12th, 1926 and 30 June 1928, or under the convention of 28th October 1933 and 10 February 1938, the protocol of 14th of September 1939, or the Constitution of the International Refugee Organization. She was going on here. Now, listen to what's going on. These decisions are being made. But Morocco is a signature nation, but they're not even there, because the nation is domicile. It's empty. There's no ceasefire. There's no government occupying that sovereignty. So they assume, because they're a favorable nation, They have a right to be invited without anyone present there to sign on their behalf, because they already are a most favored nation, and they already got sovereignty under their own flag, and you can't take that away from them. And they need the signatory powers to carry into what affect these nations, European nations, into effect based on negotiation agreements with the Morocco government. So that's important. Decisions of non-eligibility taken by the International Refugee Organization during the period of its activities should not prevent the status of refugee being according to persons who fulfill the conditions of paragraph 2 of this section. You hear what these people are saying here? These are all the countries coming together. They're not going to tell you this when they deal with you, when they pass legislative, but these brother societies, these fraternity orders, they specially train for this. They know this. And they apply under the law of secrecy, which Professor Abdul said what they're doing. There's a public, res public. She is open for the people. And there's privacy. That's what they're doing. Operating under two houses. One, under temples and ecclesiastic order set up so that the ecclesiastic body can eat off the people's substance. They sold the people out. So you got now, the people, you got priests and prophets, or false prophets, false preachers, false teachers, sitting in the seat of the apostle and prophet. See, this is what they say in the book of Daniel. He say, when you see the desolation, abomination, sitting in the holy place. Oh, you better understand what that means. He said a holy place. Look up the etymology of holy, look up place. Let's talk about a place over here. Let's talk about here. Where we receive the revelations. Where the prophets and the apostles was at. The land of the gods to see the revelation. They sitting in the seat. The Pope is sitting there with the hat. The thing on his head. The keys are challenging the galactic key, cosmic key. That means the keys of authority passed down from the cosmos to you, a man or woman. He got the scepter. He broke it down. He got the crown. What you talking about, Shem? He claiming to be the Dauti, the head. And he's claiming to be what also? The crust. I mean, they only doing him. He's the ambassador. An ambassador represent an empire or a kingdom. So he's saying the hierarchy of the heavens, the land of the gods, the celestial realm, the cosmos, have ordained me and gave me the keys, the galactic key. What is the galactic key? I can curse you, I can hit you, I can bind you, meaning I'll bring the cosmos against you. So they put the fear on you. Oh, you better be scared, don't talk against him. Oh, he gonna do this to you. Ain't nothing gonna happen to you. They don't even recognize him. For all the elves know him, they said, we gave him a seat. See, we getting him in trouble. Because he ain't got no business wearing that. Because we say he don't know what he's messing with. What he got now, he's in trouble. The people who follow the congregation, the nations that follow him. That's why I say the horse sit upon many mountains. That's the Catholic Church. The mountains are nations. Now, you want me to get started? What is these mountains? I can start naming these nations what these mountains are right now. British. Why? So we be talking about Shem, France, Spain. Why? Because they call themselves what? Defenders of the faith. And they call them most holy majesty. Why is a king or a queen calling someone an emperor? They say he's in the stead of God, of the evoke. He's instead of the cosmos. He is the Messiah on earth. That's going to come out later on. You're going to see that. But we're going to see it. And we're going to escape it. With this knowledge that we're going to escape that because we see it. We're not going to go into it. We don't entertain because we're going to have jurisdiction and we're going to have structure. Right back where we're supposed to have it at, in this holy land. We're going to have structure. It's going to shock the world. They can't even stop it. I told you it's not going to be no Albions or no foreigners. It's going to be your own people around you. That's going to be like an animal. The attacker. Remember that. The book of Psalms say, I thought it would be somebody, a foreigner, or someone, one of my brothers, or my own acquaintance, that rose up against me to take my life. Daoud said that. What are you talking about? My own house, my kinsmanship. They're trying to kill me. Oh, you believe this? They're trying to take my throne. because I stand in righteousness on the Torah, on what the prophets and the Dayuti say. Now I'm being wanted as a wanted man. Because you understand, the Moors killed their own prophets and seers and prophetess. They killed them. That's recorded. They faith in doing that. I don't need no more telling me who's gonna be an enemy. Just go back and read the record. Now here we go. Bill 2. As results of events occur before January the 1st of January 1951, and owing to well-founded fear of being prosecuted for reason of race, religion, nationality. Now, let me explain what happened. Here go the cowards. Just talking about the cowards. You go to a university. You being doctrinized by that university, you innocent because you don't know. Because this is what put it from you when he's born. The moment that a proclamation is made, a trumpet is blown, and telling you that that's a fraud, in your eyes, you hear it, well, you know he was born. No, the Holy Book said he that have an ear, let him hear what the Spirit saying to the congregation. Let him hear what the Spirit saying to the nation. What Spirit? Voice. Hear the knowledge, the voice. Words, knowledge is revelation. Let's stop playing here now. We're going to get this right. I'm not a movie star. If you hear me, we'll straighten your mind up, your thoughts. When you fear to claim a true, organic, original history with norms and facts that you can look back like the Sokofa bird and show that that's how it's supposed to be now, that could not exist, you become a sellout voluntarily. And because you scared that they're going to kill you, you're going to die one day anyway. Stop being scared. Because you scared now, they're going to get rid of you. You feel this right here. Founded fear of being persecuted for reasons of race, religion, nationality. They're going to put me in jail. I'm a terrorist if I claim my Moors consanguinity. Ain't nothing ever happened to a Moor but go to jail. Or Moor, they got Moors down as terrorists. You're a damn refugee. Excuse me for saying you're a refugee. You, she, he, man or woman, you are educated, money getting, debt paper spinning and having refugee. I didn't write this. These are nations talking about people. Describe that this is the category that we will fall under if we don't get ourselves together. Founded fear of being persecuted for reason of race, religion, nationality, or listen to this, membership of a particular social group. Ain't that what the people call themselves, the Moorish Science Temple? They socialize, they're meeting together. It's a group. If you're scared to come together and have in your community, have groups to protect, whether we're going to protect our people, we're going to complain who we are. Man, they're going to lock you up, man. They're going to start messing with your bank account. Man, they're going to have the police. They're going to try to mess with your property. You're a coward. There you go. Social group and say political opinion. Yo, you ain't allowed to do that. These people, you ain't got jurisdiction over the people. That's political. These people got a right to govern themselves. That's political opinion. If you fear, I ain't doing that. I ain't getting involved with that. You know what they're going to do, man? They just take my job. They're going to take my pension. Man, no, man, I got securities. I got investments. What do you got? You came in the world broke. You came in the world disnationalized. You grown up disnationalized with no real substance, no possession of land, and you ain't got a mother country. And what in the hell in the world you got that you trying to secure? You're not even civilized. If you're not claiming your motherland and tied to your motherland, you ain't civilized. Opinion is outside the country of its nationality. Now listen, let me explain what outside of your country, that's in your mind. Oh man, I ain't overseas. Oh man, I ain't over in Mexico. I ain't in their borders. You lost it. That's your mind. Nationality is created in your mind. I'm glad you gave me this to talk on camera. Thank you. They need to hear this stuff because they never heard us in the house of we awakening mind. Did you hear this? It's outside your country. What do that mean? Man, we ain't in Morocco, man. Man, listen, this is so-and-so, this is America. This is the Americans. You outside your country. And thinking, your thinking put you outside your country. That means the way you think, that's where your body's at. That's why the book said, whatsoever man and woman think ye, so is he. Why you think a man want another man? I'm a woman. I should have been born a woman. He's thinking that. Homosexuality is a mental condition. We got to help ourselves. The reason why I use that, because this is what they're doing. They're castrating us when we're thinking outside our country. We are thinking outside our country. You know what we're doing? We're not even having ties to a mother. We're not even saying, if you're not saying you're from a mother country, you ain't got no ties to your mother. Oh, my mother right there. Whoa. You got to understand, the mother they talking about the land. And that's what we can't figure out. Outside your country's in your mind. All y'all Moors don't even know where Morocco at. Everybody arguing. The state of Morocco, okay, that's the state. Where's Morocco? Of. Like Professor Abdullah, look at the etymology. Of. You of something. Where's it at? Where's it at? You saying you of. Where's it at? That's just a political organization claiming a political domain in the Moroccan Empire because Africans are Moors. What you mean? Shit, they got carbon and melanin. Don't need no DNA test. You got carbon and melanin. What are you doing? Something wrong with you. You see the brainwash? See the tricks, traps, and trade? Let's get ourselves together more. Let's get our house together. Outside the country of his nationality and is unable or owing to such fear is unwilling to avail himself of the protection of that country. Oh my God. You know what you just did? See what he's saying? You don't even want to say you from the motherland. You don't even want to say that your rights to own property and to buy something or speak or to be attached to protect yourself is in your motherland. You just, hey man, listen, man, that stuff don't mean nothing, man. They got a military, man. That stuff don't mean nothing. I need to take a loaded revolver and spin a barrel, put it to your head, spin it, shoot, pull the trigger. Just kill yourself. Because what you're doing is you're killing the Herod claim. You can't pass nothing down. What you're doing is a genocide, a mental genocide. You are committing apartheid and terrorizing your people, being a coward. That means you can't even hand down the knowledge, the philosophy to your descendants and children. Kinsmanship, that they got protection, but you go on the other side of the world, they protect themselves. Are you French? Look what they ask you. Watch this. Why are you going to South France? They don't ask you when you're going to fill out something, are you black? Are you Hispanic? They ask you, are you French? Or what foreign nation you from? You got all these things on the French application. Because indigenous people with melanin was there before it was called French. They was already there. France, or Spain, or Great Britain or England. Our people, Moors, is already there. So Moors don't have to say that they French, Spanish, or British. Don't have to say that. They're already melanated, carbonated people. This is what's handed down inheritance. It's just not land. It's just not the right to determine what you do with your vegetables, your livestock. It's the right to know knowledge. To hand down what? Knowledge. Without the knowledge, you can't make the claim. In the wisdom, you can't make the claim to your, once again, motherland. Or who having a nationality of being outside the country, or his former habitual resident, as a result of such event, is unable or owing to such fear, is unwilling to return to it. You know what? Anytime you hear, and it's being taught, that you don't have to live like this. Your people were civilized. They're the most favored nation. This is all the benefits you got. It don't take our people nothing long to go to a seminar, go and file. If they're giving a stimulus check, they sign up for it right away or apply for it. If they're giving out free bag lunches, they ain't got the money, food banks, they go right there, get the food clothing. Don't take them long to go and get it the discount. Oh, yo, make sure you got a discount. This cost $500. They selling it for $150. It don't take them long to make a decision. Yet, why? Because it benefits them now in the condition that they living in the mindset. And here's something that can restore. When you can have industry, warehouses, economic and industry without the interruption of any foreign government, and be in control of your own destiny and hand down your heritage. You don't want to do that. You don't want to be self-sufficient. You call that bogus. Man, that stuff ain't working. That don't mean nothing. You see these mind concepts we got to get out of. Because we hurting ourselves. When you Moors talk like that, you know what you're doing? You're damning your own people. That's all you're doing. You're not helping us. In case of a person who has more than one nationality, now, this is a fraud. I want you to hear this. This is a fraud right here. If you're not a judge, you won't catch this. How you gonna have more than one nationality and there's only one Moorish blood consanguinity? Now, what it should be saying here is one national status or citizenship status. I mean, a national status one place and the citizen status another place. That's dealing with status now. But how you gonna have, say, more than one nationality? That's impossible. You can't have more than one. That's why I say you have two Earths. The other one. Abdullah, we got two Earths. Where's it at, Abdullah? We got two Earths down here, Abdullah. Abdullah, right about that. It's just impossible. See, Abdullah, what I love about Professor Abdullah, he catches a fraud right away. In a language, he said, Shem, hold, stop right there, Shem. No, we can't use that way. Oh, what are you talking about? What are you talking about, Professor? He said, no. He said, Shem, listen to me. That's a fraud. Then he explained that he's absolutely right. So you have to understand, this is constructing private policy to strip a man of his birthright. You have to understand this. Like I said, show me two Earths. Nationality dealing with blood consanguinity. Now, if you say a man left a foreign nation and went into another nation under nationalization, and the nation allowed him to preserve his status as a national of that country and operate as a citizen, guaranteed right, then you can say that. Then we can say that. I'm going to correct that right there. The world body needs bodies too. Remember, they're going off our things. They getting it wrong. When they trapping, they're just stealing your birthright. See, that's our job to catch this stuff here. That's why it's important. The term country of its nationality should mean either of the countries of which he is a national. Now, you see how they contradict themselves? You said one thing, more than one nationality. You can't have more than one nationality. You have a national status. And a person should not be deemed to be lacking the protection of his country, of his nationality, if without any valid reason based on well-founded fear, he is not available himself of the protection of one of the countries of which he is a national. See, you have to understand what's going on here more. The contract name, I told you, you use that name on the citizenship status as a alien, under alienation, as a non-resident, non-United States national, using the alienation. That brings you under the citizen status as under British Crown, which you protected by treaty. Then you are national under your Moorish blood pedigree of Morocco in a provincial government in Morocco. This is why they can't strip you when you know how to operate that way. That's what we teaching them to set them up, how to do this. Oh, this thing getting good. Thank you, Tamara. This thing getting good. Woo. Status. Rights of protection in Morocco. Treaties between the Ancestry and the Sultans of Morocco, December 1956, Article 15. Any subject of Morocco who has been naturalized in a foreign country and who shall return to Morocco shall, after having remained for a length of time equal to that which shall be regularly necessary for him to obtain such naturalization, should between entire submission to the laws of the empire and the obligation to quit Morocco. Let me teach you what I'm talking about now. Moors. Your blood consanguinity is Morocco as a national of the land. As a alien operating in America, the extended political, you're a non-resident, non-United States citizen alienation. What possibly benefit will you have to say, I am not a part of Morocco, and go here and naturalize on your own damn land? What you just did, you just waived your birthright. That means you don't know what's going on. You threw away all your protection. Why would you have to go ahead, which a lot of people think, oh no, man, if we got to enforce the Constitution, why would you go ahead? You on your land. They occupying sovereigns. You're only interacting with them through treaty as an alien, under alienation. If you give that right up and say, you know what? Please hear me out. Please, you got to hear me. If you go over to their political jurisdiction and sign a registration form, that is a form of saying you naturalizing it. You gave up your birthright. Now you under that registration form, they take that they got to take care of you. What you mean? You go to them for benefits now, welfare, grants. They're taking care of you. Now you call the cops, 911. Ambulance. What is that? That is a performance. That is a contract. That is a performance contract. And in their mind, it's adhesive. And what you just did, you quit. You quit your national status as a Moroccan national and went over to a foreign organization and pledged allegiance to them. I never pledged. It doesn't say that when you sign a registration form to vote. What are you doing? What are you doing? When you become silent to your Moroccan status, it's a form of waiver. If you own something and you got a expensive laptop, and the man walk up and say, "Damn, whose laptop is this?" You like this. Oh, whose laptop is this? And guess what happened? The man said, okay. He walks away with it. Here you come an hour later and say, damn, somebody stole my laptop. Somebody can say, cuckoo, 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 cuckoo. You know the person got a problem. Now, why would they claim the laptop? Intimidation and fear. Why didn't you call the police and say, that's my laptop, and he's trying to take it? If you tell him it's yours, and you say, wait a minute, he just stole my laptop. Don't you point to somebody? That's authority. The protection of your country. That military or officer or official works for a government. So this is what we're dealing with. This is the crisis that we got, and we're going to handle it. Shall, after having remained a length of time equal to that which shall have been regularly necessary for him to obtain such naturalization, choose routine, entire submission to the laws of the empire, and the obligation to quit Morocco, unless it shall be proven that his naturalization in a foreign country was attained with the consent of the Moroccan government. Now, what this mean? This means that in some nations in ancient time, when you commit a serious offense and crime, they will exile you. They will snatch your citizenship and put you out the boundaries of the nation, the country. Now, when that happens, you become a refugee. You go to a border nation and you're going for naturalization so you can be protected because you don't own no land. You can't feed yourself. So you go until you go in that other country, they give you naturalization and they feed you, they give you a grant or a privilege. What you just did. You're a refugee. That's how they got us down. A mother dropped you in the hospital or in the back of a car and give you right up. You in your country, you're not in your motherland. She never claimed the motherland. You're a refugee. Now the state takes you and take care of you, give you benefits because you lost at sea. You're abandoned child. So they consider you as being an ambassador, and an ambassador doesn't have inheritance with a mother nation. This is what's going on. And this is now they're able to do legalized trading and trafficking of bodies. It's not illegal because you're part of that political organization. And by voting or by somebody in your family, your mother participating, y'all part of that political organization. Therefore, it's legal to them. They can pass legislation and say, what we determine is not legal. You did it by force. You can't do it by force. You got to get them to consent, and then you got to go and pass laws on them and tell them how they can do it. That's legalized. That's the same thing. Ain't no different. One is by force. One is through deceit, deception, and coerce, and indoctrination, which puts the people in the mind control to voluntarily give it up. Their sovereignty. What's the difference? That's apartheid. We have Professor Abdullah talk about it as apartheid. Okay. Foreign nationalization, theretofore, acquired by subjects of Morocco according to the rules established by the laws of each country. Do you hear what they're saying? The country got a right. The provincial Moorish government got a right to determine what's going on with their population of voters. They under their national status. Each country. Are you a country? Are you claiming to be a country? A Moorish provincial government? Are you going to claim to come together, be a portion of sovereignty so we can exercise this right and get our people from under this refugee status? So what it means is that they can do whatever they want to do to you because you're not evolved, you're not connected to a motherland. You nobody. You are cattle. You like livestock, crops. You just a surety. Established by the laws of the country shall be continued to them as regarding all its effect without any restriction. Man, this. Well, we go back to the common denominator. Right here. You know, I'm going to say something. When I first got back in contact with Abdullah and he introduced me to Tamara, even me in my mind, I did not imagine we'll be here where we are right now. Because the way I felt the condition of the people. And this is serious. And I asked for forgiveness for feeling that way about my people. Because I was sick of them. But I was not enough sick of them to let somebody else talk about them and not give them a chance. See, that's the difference. To be angry and don't hurt the people. And by not, like Professor Abdul say, by not teaching them the proper concept and walking away with an attitude and say, I'm going to do it my way, and I don't care what happened, you are a part of the problem. You hear me? You are part of the problem. So you better have knowledge, understand this. Moroccan land territory, the continent on the earth, going down in the Western Hemisphere, North, Central, and South. The land rights pursuant to Moorish consanguinity secure you the inherent right to land, water, air, space, which now anything that you buy, you purchase, exchange, or erect, or live in, property, inventions, which is intellectual property, conveyance. Now, we talk about conveyance, buying. I come to Terrence and say, Terrence, what are you selling that for? I write Terrence a paper, a cashier check. What's back in that cashier check? I'm going to ask a question. I'm going to I'm going to more to give me online. What backs a cashier check? A paper security. That's all it is, a paper security. What backs it? What backs a paper security? I'm going to give it a minute, then I'm going to say something. Okay, what backs a paper security is the confidence between the man and woman, or the man and man, or the woman and woman, the confidence of one looking at a piece of paper with a writing on it and accept within itself through confidence the conveyance, meaning that they believe that this is lawful money and is going to discharge debt. The debt and the obligation is binding because everybody else is going along with what? The plan. But there's nothing real being exchanged. But what? Your word is your bond, your energy. What you mean? Is the obligation of debt is passed down all the way around like musical chairs and then wind right back here again. Now, if you sell a piece of property, I said, well, I don't have no bank paper. Well, how you gonna buy it? Okay, I want to get that from you. How much you want for the house? $350,000. I'll tell you what I got. I got a Mercedes Benz worth $50,000. I'm an engineer. I made this right here, and people use this, and I sell it. Well, how many can you do? This is our man look at making money. Well, I can produce you 500 of them. They cost a piece $500. So I had to make a profit off it. Okay, well, I'll give it to you for $250. Now he calculate all the stuff you're giving him. That's called real barter and exchange, real substance. Now that's a payment of a debt. But the only reason why the people are accepting the paper security or the promissory note, because they under the illusion that is how the money system was drawing on back. But when you read the treaties, it talks about coins. Let me explain what I mean. A paper check ain't worth nothing. Get wet, it's done. A dollar bill get wet and something burned up, it's burned up. Take copper, iron, brass, silver, and gold coins and put them in the house, catch on fire. You can take them back out, melt them all back down, and refine them into value. See, you understand? That's why they want to take your land, because the minerals are the land, the livestock, the metals. You see what I'm saying? The inventions, the intellectual property, they want to steal that. And they never want you to be able to claim a Moorish government. Why? Because you can regulate its value on what? Not just coins. You can regulate your own trade, your own bartering system, which they have no control over. I'm going to leave it open for Professor Abdullah. I'm going to bring Professor Abdullah up and let him, because he's always good for the etymology, because a lot of you out there probably wondering, why do he have Morocco and why do he have America? Now, remember this right here. Mexico, like Professor do, Argentina, Brazil, or in America, that's the political jurisdiction of Europe, was the Americas. Now, Morocco, the ancient Moorish provincial governments, you won't see them on their map. You have to go back in old maps to see that. Thank you. I appreciate it. Professor Abdullah. Yes, Professor Abdullah. Thank you. I appreciate your time.
Islam, everyone. Assalamu alaikum. Veda make him again. All right. Give Brother Shem Malachi Bey a hand, a stand, a jump, a clap, a spin around. And Shem, great job. Wonderful job, brother. Wonderful job. All right. Here's his glasses up here. I don't want somebody to, I don't want to, well, this is wonderful. Let me continue. America, Morocco. Keep in mind that what's on the treaties between Moroccan Empire and the European powers, France, Belgium, Sardinia, Netherlands, Portugal, Denmark. It's not the treaty between the Empire of America and France. The Treaty of Peace and Friendship between the Empire of America and Belgium, the Empire of America and the Netherlands, the Empire of America and Sardinia, the Empire of America and Portugal, the Empire of America and Spain. It doesn't read that. All right, so let's put something that have to direct them to something so they can see. It reads the Empire of Morocco. What's on the treaty, the language in the treaty, the Empire of Morocco, the Emperor of Morocco, not the Emperor of America. But Abdullah, the name America is a transliteration, all right, or reconstruction of Morocco. That's true. But once it's reconstructed, it's been reconstructed, it creates a different jurisdiction. But once again, the language in the treaty, the header of the treaty, Morocco. So creating a different jurisdiction. India, give me another example. Sindhu is the Sanskrit word. Hindu is the Arabic word form of the Sanskrit. India is the anglicized form. So you have Sindhu, Sanskrit, Hindu, Arabic, and India. What's the purpose of that? You understand the purpose behind that. What is the purpose of the reconstruction? Jurisdiction. Language and jurisdiction. We're looking at a reconstruction or transliteration, creating a different jurisdiction. We have to use the name Morocco. In the preamble of the United States Constitution, to the United States Constitution, we the people of the United States, that's the members of the Bar Association. The members of the Bar Association are the settlers, from March 1787 to September 1787. The Constitutional Convention. Esquires. Esquires were at the Constitutional Convention. An esquire is a title under the British Crown, below a knight, above a gentleman. So esquires, these are esquires of the British Crown. We, the people of the United States, that's the members of the Bar Association. The common people had no part in drafting the United States Constitution. The common people, it was never presented after September 17, 1787. There was no plebiscite. Pleb, people, cite, vote. There was no plebiscite where the United States Constitution, after the drafting, was open for people, the public review, and for the public, the people, to vote on. There was no plebiscite. Let's talk jurisprudence. Who are the settlers? The people are not the settlers. The people are not the settlers of the United States Constitution. The members of the Bar Association who are esquires. Once again, an esquire is a rank in the British Crown, a rank below a knight, and a rank above a gentleman. Still with jurisprudence. We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, blank, 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 do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. In the 1763 treaty between France and Great Britain, which ended the 7-year Pontiac War, Spain fought on the side of Great Britain. There's Article 2 of the 1763 Treaty of Paris between France and Great Britain has a listing of 17 treaties. Those 17 treaties are the basis of that 1763 Treaty of Paris. So the obligations and stipulations of those 17 treaties were preserved in that 1763 Treaty of Paris. So the United States of America is Spain, Portugal, France, the Netherlands, England / Great Britain, and the papacy. That's the United States of America. All right. So those are the political jurisdictional diction on Moorish soil, but they're operating. So America creates the political zones of the various occupying sovereigns: Spain, Portugal, France, the Netherlands, England / Great Britain, and the papacy. The occupying sovereigns from north part of Morocco, what they call North America, which is North America is just the political zone on Moorish soil. South America, a political zone of those occupying sovereigns on Moorish soil. Central America, the political zone of the occupying sovereigns on Moorish soil. The Americanas, the political zones, not the land, political zones. What creates the political zones, Abdullah? The treaties. They have the boundaries and land cession treaties. This is very important. This is important because we need to know how to step. This is my land. I'm a Moor. My land. I'm a Moor. Yes, this is our land. And yes, you're Moors. You operating as individuals. You listen to us, or you listen to Taj Tariq Bey or someone, or you find out you're Moor. You found out you're Moor last week, or 2 weeks ago, or a month ago, or 6 months ago, or a year ago, and you excited. They can't tell me what to do. I'm a Moor. This is my land. You got that new Moor energy. I'm ready to take on the world. That doesn't last because you don't see a structure. Where's the structure at? That doesn't last. Listen to me. Over 27 years of observation. That doesn't last. That doesn't last. It's going to wear thin. You don't see a structure. I've seen various Moorish groups come and go. There's been attempts. There's been discussions over the years of we need to come together. There's been conferences, various Moorish conferences in Chicago and Philadelphia and New York, and various Moorish conferences, different Moorish body politics in attendance. What happened? They come, they speak. I was in attendance. I'm talking about what I know. I'm the horse. I'm the horse. I'm the horse. They're in attendance and they speak at a podium. We get a hotel and get a hotel and get the conference room, and people come and by planes and boats and trains and buses, and it's for like 2 or 3 days. And different people they speak. After the third day, they go and you don't hear about it anymore. You don't hear about it anymore. Time after time after time, I kept continuing. What is the problem? Why? What is the problem? We come and talk about what needs to be done, but then there's nothing after that. It's like a, a lot of the energy, a lot of the energy is spent in organizing it. A lot of the energy is spent in airfare, car fare, gas, outfits, hotels, food. A lot of the energy is spent in buses, bus tickets, Greyhounds, and trailways. But after that, look at the finance that is spent, the energy that is exchanged. But then after that, not once, not twice, not 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, 6 times, over the years, 27 years of observation. What's the problem? What is the problem? So there has been discussions and attempts made, but what is the problem? Why wasn't it successful? Why didn't the Moors continue the activity after the conference? The conference in Chicago, New York, and Philadelphia, in North Carolina, and continue to name them. Baltimore, I've attended some of them. I'm the horse. What's the problem? There was not a clear, defined agenda and processes. So we have an open door policy. The Moorish and Pure Restoration Caucus has an open door policy. Members of the Nation of Islam, Louis Farrakhan, we have an open door policy. Pastors, we have an open door policy. Imams, an open door policy. Members of the Hebrew Israelites organizations, we have open door policy. Churches, Moorish Science Temples, sheiks and grand sheiks, we have an open door policy. We must have an open door policy. What's the problem? The heads, pastors, imams, sheiks and grand sheiks, they don't want to lose. They don't want to lose the people looking up to them. They've been so used to people bowing to them and looking to them as special. But when the people get true knowledge, they no longer see them as illuminated and special. I do see them attacking us. Shem is right. Get your hands out my pocket, Malcolm. I do see our brothers and Shem is right. I'm giving credence to what Shem is saying. I do see them attacking us. I see our brothers and sisters attacking us because they have not been given true knowledge of history, jurisprudence, astronomy, philosophy, epistemology, etymology, semantics, grammar. They have not been given religion, divinity. So their fear is losing themselves as feeling special because they will no longer be seen as special. When you give people true knowledge of jurisprudence, epistemology, etymology, pragmatics, grammar, history, treaty studies, those who have not been teaching these sciences, they won't be seen as special. That's what they're afraid of. So I do see them attacking us. I'm just being practical. I'm being practical. I'm just keeping it 100. They're not ready to give that up because they won't be seen as special. They have not been teaching. Let's keep it 100. By not talking about it doesn't mean, no, we need to talk about it. This is real. This is real. Get your hand out my pocket, Malcolm. You know what the man, you know who that man was? You know what he was planning to do? Unite? He's planning to make a power move. So I just wanted to address that. Now, real quick, Shem broke it down. You have your divine law, your natural law, and your national law. The divine law is the unseen world. Geometry, that compass, that bow compass, and that plummet square, and the G in the middle. The G represents the word geometry, earth measure. Geometry is used as the blueprint to unlock the unseen world. So you see the unseen world being manifested, and you use geometry to look at the coding, to decode. So the encoding of the unseen world is in seashells, acorns, pine cones, crystals, snowflakes, the human body. That's an encoding of the unseen world. And geometry is used. That's why that G, you gotta understand the function of these. The G, the geometry unlocks and decodes that which is encoded. So the unseen world is manifested in the natural world. Divine law, natural law, national law, the representatives of a government understands what I'm saying, the divine law and natural law, and have that as their body of their philosophy, and legislates with a balance of this understanding of the balance of the people's divine connection with the unseen world, and to maintain civilization for thousands of years, to maintain government structure in a proper order. They look to the unseen world and manifest that into government structure. Christ, the cross or Christ is the oil that's secreted and the pineal gland. The sunlight is a source of energy. The sunlight stimulates the serotonin and melatonin in the brain, activating the neuromelanin, the medulla oblongata, the cerebellum, the hypothalamus, the cerebrum, the nervous systems, activating the seership. It's divine. That's the Christ or class. So a Christian or Christian nation understands this natural divine divinity connection. We got to put these words in the proper context. They've been taken out of their context. When you take a word out of its setting in Libin, its setting in time, it's distorted. Words must be analyzed in the context structure of a culture, their norms, their philosophies, their festivals, their rites, their rituals. You analyze words in the context. When you take the word out of that context, it's distorted. You cannot analyze words like that. What is the philosophy? Festivals, norms, standards, rites, rituals, holidays, clothing, their everyday interchange, living, their commerce, how they lived, interchange with each other. That's how you analyze. The cross keys. This is the galactic cross. You have the tropical cross, which is your earth cross, your 4 seasons, your celestial equator. The celestial equator intersects with the galactic equator every 12,500 years. All night orders used the 8-pointed star. They use an 8-pointed cross. That 8-pointed cross represents that intersection of the celestial equator and the galactic equator every 12,500 years. So the substitute Egyptian ruler using that title, Pope, Egyptian title, wears the mitre, which is the shape of a fish. And fish is a symbol of fertility, fecundity. The Palestine, the Philistine, fish, Dogon, John, the etymology of John, coming from the Babylonian word. The Babylonian word for John is Donis. So means fish. So you have the fish that's dealing with fertility. So the mitre, the cross keys of Chaldea. The Pope has the scepter or the staff with 2 intertwined snakes ascending to a pine cone. And the pine cone represents the pineal gland. So that's that divine connection. Shem is correct. That's that divine connection. I am the seer of the world. That's what you see. You said he's that. You're acknowledging him as the seer of the world. You're acknowledging him as the divine seer of the world. Yes, you are. You just don't know what you're looking at. It's right in front of your face. The divine seer of the world. That's our culture. Right. We've taken our ancient culture ancient philosophy of seership, of the unseen world. It starts with in the unseen world, not here. The work begins in the unseen world. That's the divine. You're too late here. It's too late to start here. You're too late. Let's clear up the unseen world. This is true religion. They're going to have a problem with us, I know. They will attack us. Yes. I'm saying this, I won't be surprised. They will attack us. Our brothers and sisters will attack us. Pastors will attack us. Imams will attack us. Grand sheiks will attack us. Get your hand out my pocket, Malcolm. I'm speaking this. I'm speaking this. To not speak it is unintelligible. You must understand what you're dealing with. Talking about heavy, big-time finance. Talking about their big-time egos, their prestige. People looking up to them, bowing to them, kissing them. Because they're special. They have not taught philosophy, epistemology, jurisprudence, etymology, semantics, pragmatics, grammar, jurisprudence, treaty studies, ancient world history. None of it. Divinity. They haven't taught it. None of it. None of them have taught it. They will attack us. All right. Definition, Moorish body politics. Moor, the inhabitants and descendants, kinsmanship heirs of the ancient people of Morocco. Government, deals with Moorish provincial governments. Are you ready to govern? Are you ready to govern? My eyelash. Are you ready to govern? Moorish provincial government. So I'm breaking down each word: Moorish, provincial, and government. So let me begin again. Start again. The inhabitants, Moors, the inhabitants and descendants, kinsmanship heirs of the ancient people of Morocco. Government, the people's rights, the people's right to control, direct, and administer their political, civics, and economic affairs through a constitutional structure to rule, command, and order among themselves collectively of a particular region, district, or province in the Moroccan Dominion. Province, a region in Morocco where the Moors claim a particular boundary as a provincial government. As I said before, the political jurisdictions, boundaries, are created. The European political jurisdictional boundaries that you see on maps, those are not our boundaries. Those are European political jurisdictional boundaries. They are created through secession treaties among each other. That's what creates them, secession treaties. They're called land secession treaties. Now, these political boundaries, so these land secession treaties, and there are surveys. They have land survey companies that does surveys based on the treaties. So you're talking about conquest and treaty matters. To address this, we need a government structure. Let's look at government. The people's rights to control, direct, and administer their political, civics, and economic affairs through a constitutional structure. Let's talk. Abdullah, I'm saying to Shem, Shem, I established a Moorish consulate. That doesn't sound right. Now, why does that sound right to some Moors? Why does that sound right? Why does that make sense to some Moors? Because they don't understand constitutional governmental principles. That's why. I say to you, that I, Abdullah Mosi Bey, I, Abdullah Mosi Bey, delegate authority to myself. I establish a Moorish consulate. Right on, Abdullah. Yeah. Right on, Abdullah. Why are you clapping for me? You should stone me. They clapping for me. Hold on. Oh. The reason why they clap for me because they don't understand constitutional governmental principles. That's why. They don't understand that the sovereignty is vested in the people. That's the problem. The right on, Abdullah, is that they don't understand fundamental principles of constitution and government. That is the problem. That's why they would clap for me. You should not clap for me. Shame you, Abdullah. You have no authority, Abdullah. You have no authority to establish a consulate of any kind. Let's look at this. The people's right to control, direct, and administer their political, civics, and economic affairs through a constitutional structure. The sovereignty of the people. That includes those classified as black, Moors classified as black, Negro, colored, African American, Spanish, Indian, West Indian. They the people. The sovereignty of the people. The 40, 50 million of them. The 40, 50 million of them. The 40, 50 million of those classified as black, Negro, colored, Latino, Spanish, African American, Indian, West Indian, the 40 million of them. The sovereignty belongs to the people. It's the sovereignty of the people. But I say, I establish a Moorish consulate. No constitution, no power, the sovereignty of the people vested in a constitutional structure. And from that constitutional structure, in that body, in that constitutional structure, you have vested power. You have the executive power that's vested in a head of state, president, or bey, or dey, or an emperor, or empress, or prime minister, or grand vizier. You have your vested power, the legislative power is vested in a parliament, in that constitutional structure. That's the power of the people. That's the sovereign power of the people vested in a constitutional structure. Then you have your judicial, so the vested power, the law interpreting power, or judicial power is vested in the judicial branch, the sovereignty of the people. Abdullah, well, I heard you say you established a consulate. Well, Abdullah, doesn't a government establish a consulate? But you say you. You didn't say hold on, Abdullah, you a king? You a king, Abdullah? You a day, Abdullah? You a bay, Abdullah? You said you established a consulate. How's that happen? So you saying, hold on, that so you a consulate of hold on, the consulate, the Moorish, the consulate of the Moroccan Empire. Consulate of the Moroccan Empire. Moroccan Empire extends what they call Phoenicia, they call North America, Central America, South America. They call modern day India, what they call modern day North Africa. That's the sovereignty extension of the Moroccan Empire. So you are consulate of the Moroccan Empire. You have this flag in the background. And so you're a consulate of the Moroccan Empire. What is the Moroccan Empire? That is the Moroccan Empire. It's the empire that negotiated treaties with Belgium, France, the Netherlands, Spain, Portugal, Belgium, Denmark, Sardinia, United States. You're the consulate. By what? How? All right. Let's talk about due process. Due process. So so that means there's a constitutional government that has a head of state, of course. And so a head of state, prime minister or bey or day or caliph or appointed you. No, that didn't happen. Let me look at how done. Let me look at the consular relations. All right, let me look at the world. Let me look at the world, international law. Let's look at jurisprudence here. How does one become a consul or consular general? How does one become a consular general? They are appointed. You have in some countries, the head of state appoints the consular general. Other countries, the consular general is appointed by the Minister of Foreign Affairs. So that means you have a head of state. So to have a Minister of Foreign Affairs, you have to have a head of state, a prime minister, president, queen or king or dey or bey or caliph. You have to have a head of state because the head of state appoints the Minister of Foreign Affairs. So how does one become a consul? That you have the consular general would be the head consul of a particular that sends, all right, that's deployed to a particular country to which your country has treaties. So they have that's the head consul, and then under the head consul, which is consul general, we have consuls. So the consuls are like aides to the consular general. Now, in the Vienna Convention on Consular Relations, Article 11, you have an exequatur where you have the sending state. The sending state sends the commission to the receiving state. The receiving state gets it acknowledges it, that Ahmad is the Consular General. All right. Now, according to the Vienna Convention of Consular Relations, the receiving state, not Ahmad doesn't make any announcement. Ahmad doesn't send any letters to no mayor, to no governor, to nobody. It is the receiving state. After they get the acknowledgement, they get from the sending state, it's acknowledged, the correspondence is acknowledged. Then Ahmad can, go. All right. The receiving state makes the announcement who Ahmad is. To the, Ahmad is the Consular General, the Consular General of Morocco to France, and he's going to be residing. All right, so the receiving state does that, makes the correspondent. Ahmad doesn't do that. That's it. For Ahmad to do that, Ahmad would be violating Ahmad would be violating the Vienna Convention of Consular Relations. You might get fired, of course. I mean, that's a violation. You don't. That's what I'm saying. It's diplomacy. It's diplomacy. Now, when one claims to be an official of a government, one is claiming to exercise a portion of the sovereignty of his or her country. That is the essential part of the definition. I mean, if that other parts are key, cool, but that is the essential. Exercising a portion of the sovereignty of the country, which is delegated. So you have your elections, because the power, the sovereignty of the people, the people are the boss. The people are the sovereign body. The people extend a portion of their sovereignty to a constitutional structure and agree to come under that body of civics that they create through a portion of their sovereignty. So you're saying you're claiming the sovereign of the people without it being delegated to you? This has been going on too long. My 27 years of observation, and why does it go on? That means that there's a lack of understanding of constitutional government principle. That's why it goes on. Why am I making a big issue of this? Because that leads to no accountability. More is being taken advantage of. More is giving out finance and no accountability of the finance. That's what happens. So I am going to address it through teaching proper constitutional and governmental principles. No accountability. This self-appointment. What is that self-appointment? What is that? That you've never even seen that. You've never seen self-appointments in the schools? Hold on, the principal. All right. I'm going to school. I'm the principal. Oh, you was appointed by the superintendent. Oh, no, I just came off the street. Huh? No, I'm the principal. I just came off the street. I just said I'm the principal. I'm the principal. I just came off the street. You weren't the superintendent of schools didn't appoint you? The superintendent of schools didn't appoint you. Oh no, I came off the street. I decided, I thought the school looked good, and I decided to walk in and say, claim to be the principal. No, I'm saying, and I'm doing this because that's what's been happening. I may sound silly, but I'm really not being silly. I'm not even exaggerating. That's what's been happening. Nowhere in the world does this happen. Nowhere would you see this. In this other place, the only way you would see that is in this Moorish movement. Only place in the world. The only in the world is in this Moorish movement. The only this self-appointment in the world is in this Moorish movement. Nowhere. No school districts, no Masonic orders, no Girl Scouts, no Boy Scouts, no fraternities, no sororities. Would you see that? They got constitution and bylaws, fraternities and sororities, Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, Medical Association, name them. So American Sociological Association, keep naming them. They all have constitution and bylaws. Nowhere in the world will you see that is in this Moorish movement. That's pathetic. That's pathetic. We're showing the world we don't know government. We're showing the world that we don't know government. So the recognition begins with ourselves. Let's not talk no recognition, no international community right now. Let's get our house in order. We ain't talking about no recognition, no international community right now. Recognition among ourselves first. You cannot talk about no doggone recognition by the international community if you don't recognize yourself. That is utterly ridiculous. We don't recognize ourselves. And I ain't talking about, we don't know more, it ain't good enough. I'm talking about respecting the honor, the principles laid down by our ancestors. We don't respect them. We don't honor them. We don't cherish them. So we have to come and learn. We will continue to push these principles. In order to move forward, these principles of which I've spoken have to be grounded with us. We cannot move forward. We cannot move forward if these fundamental principles are not grounded in us. We cannot move forward. It's too much of this violation. We got to put it in the check. How do you put it in the check? I'm doing it. I'm doing it by teaching the principles. I have to do both. I have to teach what not to do and what to do. I got to teach what's been out there for my observation for over 27 years and why it's incorrect. No, there's no delegation of authority order. You ask the Albions for a delegation of authority? You ask the Albions for a delegation of authority? Hold on. You ask the Albions for a delegation of authority, but you don't ask these Moors for a delegation of authority? Talk to me! How dare you? You don't ask these Moors for a constitution? They claim to be consul general. They claim to be emperor, queen, king, they claim that you don't ask them where they divide their authority. You don't ask them for their constitution. You don't ask them, which is a constitution, which is a social trust. Within that social trust embodies the structure of your government and the vested powers of the legislative body, executive body, and judicial power. Vested power from the people. You don't ask them, but you ask the Albion, who taught you that? Who taught you? Who taught you to only ask the Albions? I want to know who taught you. Who taught you to only ask delegation authority from the Albions, but not from your own brothers and sisters? Who taught you? Ask it from your brothers and sisters who claiming to have these particular titles and their constitution. Because without a constitution, the title don't exist. I'm going to say it again. Without a constitution, the title don't exist. I don't care what they say out their mouth. It doesn't exist. What creates the title? What creates the authority? The people vesting their sovereignty to a body of civic, to a structured constitution. That's what creates the office. Outside of that, they ain't no doggone office. Talk to me. I'm tired of this self-appointment. People taking Moors, taking advantage of Moors. Not on my watch. I'm not here to be liked. I don't care about being liked. I care about the lives of our people, of our children. I don't care about being liked. Please. We have the course coming up. Once again, I want to thank you for giving me your ear. I speak in love. I speak in love. I already know those who won't like me. I don't care. All right, so once again, we have the Academy of Province, the mission statement of the Academy of Province in manifesting the mission of Academy of Providence is to promote the restoration of critical thinking, which is molded in the epistemological tradition of conventional education through the illumination of the past to anticipate the future generation will yield unto their intellectual, creative, philosophical, and intuitive mind. The course, which is next Saturday, begins next Saturday, April 17th. So that'll be on Saturdays from 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time via Zoom, virtual, or classroom, which is here at the headquarters, 602 Vanderveer, Wilmington, Delaware. About our program, the 12 weeks of Juris course is designed to teach the principles of how Moorish treaties benefit Moors as creditors and protect them from being debtors of a foreign power. Further, the students will be taught how Moorish treaties are enforced through government structure. In addition to treaty and government study, students will learn how to structure, file, and serve cases, write writs, answers, affirmative defenses, reconsideration, and memorandum of law. Enroll now. How do you enroll? And pay for the course. Go to UnitedRespublicaMorocco.com and click on Academy of Providence. Go to UnitedRespublicaMorocco.com and click on Academy of Providence, and the instructors, yours truly, Abdullah Ilton Mosi Bey and Shem Malachi Bey. Thank you again. Are you ready to govern yourselves? Are you ready to govern yourselves? Are you ready to govern yourselves? I'll see you next time. We see you on Saturday, April 17th. Saturday, April 17th at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The Academy of Providence, the Sojourners Course, 201. All right, thank you. We're back on the House of Reawakened Mind. That'll be the second Friday every month. The second Friday of every month. Thank you again. Peace.